now we're on the subject of music. Yo, I'm hearing that a lot of producers are suing artists for not paying them for beats and all kind of stuff like that. Like, how do you feel about that?
They suing? They're doing what?
Yeah, they're suing. A lot of artists are being sued for not paying for beats.
Producers are suing artists.
Yes.
Saying that they're not getting paid for their tracks.
Right.
I've spoke about that for months, years. Nobody wanted to listen to me.
Wow.
Well, the typical train of thought right here is going to be that the artists are flagrant and that the artists are wrong, but you got to dig deep and understand really what's going on. First of all, artists aren't stupid.
Okay.
Too many times producers take for granted and believe or just assume that artists are stupid. To find yourself in a position where you're a platinum artist, you're selling millions of records, and you're extremely successful, you have to have a certain amount of intelligence. You have to have a certain amount of understanding business to a certain point. I'm not saying everybody's a brainiac, but don't assume that these rappers and these singers are idiots, because they're not.
Right.
They understand, first of all, what makes them sell. They understand, second of all, the use of a certain type of production, a certain type of track, how it helps them. When I say that, I mean, when you give an artist a track, he immediately is going to understand what that track is going to do for him. Meaning, is it going to be an album track? Is it going to be an album filler? Is that going to be a single? If it's going to be a single, it's probably going to push my album and cause me to sell, which is going to cause me to go on tour, which is going to cause me to generate money for me and my people and everybody involved in my project. So artists are going to pay, most likely, for singles and songs that are uniquely going to push their album. If you give an artist a track that has a sample on it that he could possibly find from somewhere else or somebody else could probably do, then the track is not useful enough to him. It's not useful enough. So when they start saying things like, oh, you should just be glad that I'm taking this track and using it in kind of a way, they're right. Because you're not giving the artist something that's original. You're not giving him something that he can find or she can find, I should say can't find anywhere else easily. You're giving them something that their man could do or another producer could do. If you give them a track that has a bunch of 808 snare rolls in it and a bunch of 808 hi-hats and sounds like the typical hood track that you hear nowadays, why do you feel like they should pay for that? That's nothing that's original. It's nothing that the next man can't do. So in that point of view, whether you agree with it or not, this is the music industry. If you want to get paid for your track, make sure that you give an artist something that's useful enough that's going to be so unique that it's going to be difficult for him to find somewhere else, and he's not going to want to have to bother. He might as well take it from you and pay for it. Something that's going to help push his album, something that's going to probably become a single, something that's preferably composed, something that's preferably original, something that preferably sounds like music. And then, because that's what people really want to hear throughout the world. It's not a demographic of the hood or your hood or the area or a certain area that you live in. Artists want songs that can sell worldwide. They want to sell millions of records. They want a song that could possibly take them on tour overseas, all over the world. Something that the world wants to hear. So when producers start complaining about that, I'm a producer.
Right.
I'm a producer. I'm going to give you something that, I'm not saying I'm the best producer in the world, but I'm going to give you something that is going to be difficult to find it somewhere else. It's not going to be impossible, because there are a lot of producers that can do what I do. I'm not the only one, obviously. But there's not millions of producers that can do what I do. There's a very few. I'm in the minority. I'm a composer. When I give you something, it's going to be all original. Nobody else is going to have that. You can't find it because I'm not sampling it. And the only way somebody else is going to get it is if they sample my music and then I got to clear it. That's a whole other story. But people are going to seek me out because they're like, Fox, I want something that different, something hot, something unique, something that's going to be a single, or even if it's not going to be a single, something that's going to be on the album that's going to stand out so big that when they hear it, they're going to be like, wow, this is incredible. People are going to talk about it. Right. You got to have something that's going to be mentionable, something that's going to be a conversational piece, something that is rare, like, wow, that's really, really, really unique, that's hot. So I guarantee you that 99% of these producers that are complaining that they're not getting paid, listen to the track that they're talking about. I would be, I don't know for sure, but I would really be surprised if that track that they're talking about is, that type of track. It's probably these type of beats that you hear in everybody else's album, the same type of, it's chopped up samples or an old sample that was played over, or you just hear a heavy bass drop with a lot of 808 snares and hi-hats rolling through it. And I'm not dissing that, because that's what a lot of people do. That's their style, but it's over commercialized. Everybody does that. You know, the average producer, the little teenager in his bedroom that got Fruity Loops, knows how to put together some 808 snare rolls and some hi-hats, and they're all trying to do different versions of that, but it really all sounds the same. It really all sounds the same. Like when I was telling you the other day, if I give you a tissue,
right,
you're gonna say, like, and I say, well, listen, here, I'm gonna give you this tissue. You can say, well, yeah, that's useful, because I might have to blow my nose in 5 minutes or sometime. But if I say, listen, I want you to pay me for that tissue, you're gonna look at me like, what? Well, come on, dog. I mean, if worst comes to worst, I could always go to the bathroom and get a piece of toilet paper and blow my nose if I wanted to. If I need a tissue, I mean, it's readily available. It's all over the place.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to pay for that. Right. But if I give you a hand woven silk handkerchief with your name embroidered in gold leaf on it, right, you're going to be like, and I ask you to pay for that, you're going to be like, I'm willing to pay for that, because I'm just not going to find that anywhere. So that's what it is. Like, yo, dude, these dudes' beats are tissues. All they're worth is blowing your nose and throwing it away. And if I was an artist, I wouldn't pay for it. What I have to tell producers is this: stop thinking that you're more important than you are, because producers begin to think that they're bigger than the artist. And I'm a producer, but you have to respect artists. Stop thinking that what you do is so important that an artist is not going to survive without you. Half of these tracks that they get from you are album fillers. And the producers that they really, really do pay are the people that help push their career along. And 9 times out of 10, it's people that they have relationships with. And if they don't have a relationship with you, you really got to come with something that's monstrous to make them step out of their relationship and pay you for something that's really that big. So, you know, that's all I got to say about that. Too many times I hear producers saying, oh, the artist is, the artist that. I'm like, at the end of the day, you need each other. A cat told me one time, I'm not even going to call him a producer, he's a beat maker. He's like, artists don't realize that without beats, they're nothing. And I'm like, but so why are you trying to sell beats to artists then?
Wow.
Why is it?
Good point.
I'm like, so you're telling me that you think artists are useless? So what are you doing? So it's this bad attitude that beat makers have, that they think that they're that much important. As a beat maker, you're not really important. A composer is useful, so therefore you become important.
Wow.
Gerard Fox, you know what I'm saying? I do this all the time. We sit here, you gotta film me all the time because it's jewels dropping. Y'all need to pay me for this. But it's for my people, so it's all good, man. It's what